Gotta find a hat. We got to make our boxes bigger.
See, this
How
is
would I do
not
that?
how this is supposed to be. Did you hit the co-host button or did you just hit the guest button?
Just make your grids bigger.
I still see the guest button, so
Because this isn't how I did it last week.
let's try to figure this out.
Because this is not going to work for having...
Yeah, I was gonna say I just went to.
We can do it this way. We're just going to want to make sure that Zach's the big
Right.
whatever. Yeah.
Okay, let's get
I need
pickles in here, and then
this. Favorites.
let's get Zach in here. Now make Zach the big box.
There we go.
That's close. Hey guys, what's going on?
You're the big box.
There we
There we
go.
It was super zoomed in on my face for a second, but I think we're good.
Yes.
Good. Up close and personal to start. That's what we need.
Well, you are the star of the show today, so.
Oh boy. All right. You guys can hear me okay? So volume's fine. Sounds okay?
You sound awesome.
Yep, everything sounds good to me.
Beautiful. Let's see if I can add this to it.
How are you today, Zach?
Sorry, what'd you say?
I said, how are you?
I'm good. I'm doing good.
You excited for this?
All right. Oh yeah, absolutely. Yeah, should be a really fun time.
Yeah, I'm super, super excited. Okay. Do you want me to go ahead and get it kicked off, Brian?
Yep. Get us started. Let's go.
All right. Well, good evening and welcome into the Learning Curve. I am one of your hosts, Brittle, and along with me, I've got Steven, the Utah Bowler, here at the very top, Brian, aka Pickles, here below me, Cobert, the Molar, and then I am going to kick it off to Steven to actually introduce our guest since we are live on his channel tonight. So, Steven, who do we have on the Learning Curve tonight?
So today on the live as our guest, we have Zach from ZVL Bowling. Super excited to have him on. One of the first bowling TikTokers that I found on TikTok inspired me to start making videos. So
That is awesome to hear. Yeah, thanks for having me, guys. Really appreciate it.
yeah, I was gonna say let's start with introductions from Zach. Let's get a little bit about you.
Yes, background information. So, Zach, tell us a little bit about yourself. Tell us about how you got started with bowling, and then some highlights from your bowling career that you want to spotlight.
Yeah, absolutely. So, my name's Zach. I run the ZVL Bowling channel on a ton of different platforms. We have a TikTok, YouTube, Instagram. We have a Facebook. We have a Discord. We have a Twitch. We're trying to hit all corners of the internet. So I started bowling back a little bit, like between ages 10 and 15. I bowled a little bit. My uncle owned a bowling alley, so it was just always something that was there. But I was mainly a baseball and basketball kid growing up, so I didn't like. I was in a small town. You didn't have too many sports to choose from. High school bowling, I didn't even know that was a thing. I didn't think it was big enough for that. So baseball and basketball. Getting into college, I didn't pursue either of those sports. So I thought, well, let's get into bowling. At the time, youth was actually up to 22 years old. It wasn't it wasn't capped at 18 years old. So I tried starting some youth tournaments at the time with my one or two bowling balls. Found a little bit of success in that. Kept going into more amateur tournaments, running stuff kind of in the Minnesota amateur field. We're going to those tournaments and doing national, state, all of that. I ended up winning our Minnesota State singles portion of our tournament back in 2019. But then we hit COVID right after that, and I started Twitch streaming, except in the gaming sphere. So I would be a Twitch streamer in Pokemon and Nintendo, Mario, anything in that realm. That area was pretty tough. It was very time consuming, streaming a lot, plus a lot of YouTube. Just didn't really have time for it. Like during near the end of COVID. Um, and then going into post COVID. But then during that time, I was getting videos of myself practicing because that was just my personal way of learning. Some people learn off of like being able to read something, or some people say, like, yeah, I just tried mimicking my favorite bowler. For me, it was a lot of seeing how I bowl and then being able to tweak something and then getting another video. So I started posting those to TikTok just for the giggles, really, and then got to about like 1,000 followers through that after about 6 months. I thought, like, well, this gaming thing on the Twitch side, I stepped away from a couple months ago, and this was at the beginning of 2024. I thought, well, I know a lot about bowling balls, and I keep up on those because I work in a pro shop, and I have for now 6 years. So let's try making a video on, I believe it was a Black Widow 3.0, starting everything off. And I put out a little 3-minute review. I showcased Brunswick's little like 45-second teaser of the ball and talked about it, and people loved it. It got a ton of views. I think that one got to like 20,000 views, and follows started pouring in. So I thought, well, let's try this with a few more bowling balls. Like, if we can do it with the Black Widow, let's try it with some of Storm's new releases. And then those were even bigger, and then the ball just kept rolling to where it is today.
That's awesome.
Which I
That's
think
awesome. Yeah.
you just hit, what, 10.9 thousand followers here on TikTok?
Actually,
No.
TikTok, I'm at 17 and a half.
YouTube.
Yes.
Oh, YouTube. Sorry,
Yep.
it was YouTube 10.9.
Yep.
Sorry.
Yes, YouTube,
That's
we're
amazing.
about
That's
to hit
huge.
11,000.
That's amazing.
I have a video coming out tomorrow, which should be able to bump that a little bit. Um, it's funny. In bowling, there's always those certain ones that people like to listen to more and subscribe to more. And I think the next couple days I have a couple bigger ones that should help. But yeah, it's been way better than I could have ever imagined. I've followed like social media forever. I grew up with it. I was born in 97, so it was always there. Old school YouTube, old Twitter, old Facebook, all of it. So I've been able to follow, like, on the gaming side, a lot of YouTubers and stuff. And seeing myself hit that 10,000 milestone was bonkers. It took a couple days to be able to like have that actually hit, because bowling is weird in YouTube where all the top dogs are all professional bowlers.
Right.
Almost
Right.
every single one of them. You have the House, which is Packy, D Tang, Ryan Barnes is growing super quickly. They're all professional. There aren't many non-pro YouTubers, so being able to get there and not being a pro was absurd to me. I never thought it would happen.
Huge. Yeah. Yeah, I have noticed that. I'm like, yeah, I don't see a lot of non-professional bowling YouTubers or YouTube channels that um, showcase us normals, normal people.
Yeah.
So
Yep. And
I really enjoy your YouTube channel. It's amazing.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you. Yeah, there's a lot that try, but the hard thing with socials is you need to stay so consistent for the algorithm to actually like you. YouTube, especially, I know there's a couple bigger YouTube channels out there who have not posted for 6 months, for 12 months, and they try to jump back into it, or they even slow down and they notice their viewership it blows up. It just doesn't exist anymore. So it's very, very tough. But yeah, for just an average bowler to actually make it on bowling content is different.
Cobra, didn't you have a question in regards to that kind of realm about starting a channel or broadcasting or whatnot?
So, if the number one advice you would give to someone who is just now getting into TikTok, YouTube, or any type of video editing or anything like that, what would you give them?
Yeah, couple of the big ones. Number one, you don't need a plan going into it, but you need to have a plan later on. So I'll backtrack a little bit on that. Like at the beginning of your just posting on social media. You don't need a plan. You can, a lot of bowlers, for example, like me, just post random bowling shots. Nothing crazy, nothing big, just 7, 8, 9 second clips of you throwing a shot. Try playing with some editing a little bit, but after that, once you really want to get going in the space, trying to have a game plan of where you want, what you want your niche to be. What do you want your channel to look like if you could mold it into the perfect thing in a year? Because nobody can really make it. Us that aren't, the gods of professional bowlers who have perfect form can't, you can't get too many people following you just throwing strikes. So having a plan of where you want your channel to be, what you want your channel to look like, and then the next biggest one is learn from non-bowling communities. I think is one of the biggest ones. That's what I'm trying to do more and more. Is bowling is in its infancy at the end of the day. Yes, bowling's been around for, I don't know, whatever the stat is of Egyptians bowling back thousands of years ago, or like even, the golden age of PBA in the 50s, 60s, whenever that may be. But at the end of the day, bowling on social media is so new, so early, and so tiny. Like coming from the gaming space, people over there are absolutely surreal with just how they treat their YouTube channels. So being able to learn what others do in other spaces and bring that into bowling can be a really good way to try to take that extra step after you start your channel.
Yeah, see, I got an idea to do with that too. Like when we're doing lives or streaming for bowling content, I want to experiment with a few things. I don't want to give anybody else any ideas because I want it to be my niche. But I want to do some different camera angles and different things where you got two lives focused on the same thing but seeing different things. I think that would add a different aspect too. What was your biggest struggle with streaming and stuff like that?
Yeah, I think the biggest one is just the time commitment is tough because I work a 40-hour job. I'm a software developer as my regular 9 to 5, but finding the time outside of that to put into social media is very, very tough because the content I make does not take much time. I'm not putting in dozens of hours into editing. I'm not putting in dozens of hours into just research for one video, like a game theory video. If you guys have seen them on YouTube, they're putting in dozens of hours, and they have multiple full time people doing it. We can't do that until you get big enough, and even when you get big enough, it's very hard to keep that income. So finding that time to actually be able to put towards streaming, put towards editing. So yeah, just being able to schedule and figure out the time management side is really, really tough. But once you get a regiment down, once you get a schedule going, it does ease up.
That's awesome. Thank you.
Yeah, for
Britt, you got
sure.
anything to add?
I had a question, and then I was listening, and I got sucked in. I was learning. I mean, that's what the whole point is, right?
Absolutely.
Great.
When did you notice your TikTok start to blow up? Was it mostly, were you posting gaming stuff as well as bowling things? And did you notice, uh, did it take off like once you started with bowling, like kind of it snowballed from there? Or did you notice all of a sudden just one day it went poof?
Yeah, so I was doing gaming stuff from early to middle 2021 until it was about probably September of 2023. And then I started posting bowling just clips of myself starting in like March of 2023. Because my big goal is to get my content to as many places as possible. So I really wanted to jump on the TikTok bandwagon that was starting up, kick on that train that really went going during COVID. Um, so I was posting to both at that time, and I had two separate accounts. So my gaming account was ZVL Gaming. That was what I started as, and then because of how I named it, I kind of got lucky to say, well, I can just switch out the back half and make a new account. So
Yeah.
that's what we did on the TikTok side. So we were posting on both for a while. Between about October and January-ish of 2023 into 2024, I was only posting on the bowling one, but that was just bowling clips of myself. And then starting then is once I posted that Black Widow video, that's when I noticed, wow, there might actually be viewership in this if I post more than, once every week and a half, which is what I was doing prior to that.
See, I think your video actually got me interested in the 3.0, and because I seen somebody in my house throwing it, and I'm like, man, I don't think he's that good of a bowler. I just think the ball's doing all the work for him. Then I watched your breakdown. I was like, man, I gotta go get that ball. I actually bought two of them. So
Perfect. Yeah, and that's kind of the accidental goal of the channel. Like, I'm not trying to sell people stuff at the end of the day. I'm not affiliated with any bowling company. I'm in any bowling ball company. I am now affiliated with Bowler Store, and that's like where this merch comes from. So they're super cool, but it's not an affiliation. Like, not with Storm, not with Motive. I'm not trying to push their products. If something's good, I want to tell you that. Black Widow 3.0 was awesome, still is awesome. It's a Black Widow. It's going to be, if the bar is going to be high for it, and it usually hits it. Um, but I'll also tell you, like, when a bowling ball is bad, like the new Radical Power Hitter, I don't see it being that usable. So that's the goal. I'm hoping that it helps people not make that $300 purchase that they end up regretting, because that's the sucky thing with bowling. Golf, you can
right.
try the equipment all you want with that, and then you can give it back like, man, this driver doesn't fit me. You can go into basketball, try the shoes on. Man, these shoes just feel weird for me. I don't like them. Bowling, you don't have that choice. Bowling, it is, I purchased it, and then they're putting holes in it, and there goes my $200, $300.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, like Steve said in the comments. The DV8 chill, you didn't hold back. No, that ball sucked. That ball was terrible. I got it from a mystery box, and I tried staying optimistic for it. I talked to one of the guys I work with at the pro shop. We put a pretty decent drilling on it. Like, this is what we want it to do. I throw it a couple times, like, oh, this doesn't look bad. I bring it to like a city tournament here in Minnesota, and I almost lily on like my second shot. And then the next shot, I'm like, all right, it must have burnt up. Let me just get a little more around it, get it through that front part of the lane. And then it left like a 210, and you could tell it was fighting itself. Like the core and cover just did not match. And yeah, don't buy the chill pearl. It didn't do well for a good reason.
Okay, so what's your review on mystery boxes? Are they worth it? Or are they really just a super huge gamble?
Oh, they are. Bowlers are gamblers
Yeah.
at the end of the day. Every
Absolutely.
bowler is a degenerate gambler in some way. So it's really fun. If you do not care what kind of bowling ball you get, if you are okay with 9 out of 10 bowling balls being a Brunswick ball or a 90% chance of getting a Brunswick, a B7 ball, go for it. It's really entertaining. You get the blood pumping. Like, I've done two openings now, one with two Bowler's Mart bowling balls and one with two Bowling World bowling balls. So wanted to try them, see what it was, make a video so that people know what they're getting into. And it's super fun to open them at the end of the day. It's like a Christmas present. It really is. It's actually funny because we ran something similar in the pro shop I work at. So in Minnesota, I've worked at a pro shop for like 5 or 6 years now. The head of our pro shop is a former Wichita State bowler, won the collegiate national championship in like I think it was 21 maybe. Just smartest bowling guy I've ever met, and he brought this idea because he heard about it down in Wichita that some pro shops were doing it, where you get all of these, just you buy a bunch of bowling balls, whatever you can buy from the distributor, you literally wrap them as a Christmas present and you sell it in the month of December. People ate it up. So when I saw Bowlers Martin Bowling World doing it, I thought, people have to be doing this. And then a lot of people DM'd me and said, hey, we love this mystery ball deal. What am I going to get? And then asking around more and looking around, I'm like, oh, yeah, these are all Brunswick balls. They're all the discontinued stuff. It's all the stuff that they're buying for like $50, $60. So I wanted to let people know that, like, hey, you're not going to get the greatest ball in the world from this most of the time. But it's like a slot machine. So if you don't care, if you don't need a specific bowling ball, go nuts. If you are looking for, like, I need an asymmetrical solid, don't do it. Go buy it. Go spend the extra 50 bucks, 60 bucks. Go buy something that actually fits your needs.
Nice.
Good advice. Speaking about bowling balls, let's kind of transition into bowling arsenals.
Yeah.
Everything you talk a lot about that.
Oh,
I know
yeah.
you've
All right.
definitely helped me multiple times with my
It's
bowling
Yeah.
arsenal. So let's start with somebody getting brand new into let's say a league or something. Want their let's go with just a simple reactive bowling ball. Like,
Yeah.
how would they go about making a choice for the right ball for them?
Yeah, absolutely. That's one of the most fun things to get into, but also the hardest. So I have a spreadsheet where I keep every bowling ball in production right now. There's currently 109, not counting the entry level stuff. So that person, you get overwhelmed so quickly when you have
Right.
109 choices of all these different shapes and sizes and colors. So if it's somebody who is just getting into bowling, like they've thrown house balls and that's it, I always will recommend a tropical surge. Tropical Surge is always the perfect go-to. Those balls are like the perfect middle ground of a little bit of hook, still reactive, but it's not going to go, coast to coast. You're not going to be able to hook the whole lane with it unless you're like severely rev dominant or you're bowling on just the super burn.
That's
Um, that's always the perfect option. But if it's somebody who's like, I have that tropical surge, but I want that one bowling ball, it's always tough when you cannot see the person bowl. Like that's something we deal with in the pro shop all the time. Somebody comes in, hey, I've had this ball for a couple of years. I'm really learning how to curve bowling ball. What do I do next? So usually, what we like to do, bring them on the lane, watch them throw, hear where they like to play, how their eye sees the ball go down the lane, and then try to make a choice from there. Online, very tough to do, especially if you aren't able to get videos from people, which TikTok doesn't let you send your own images or videos for a very good reason. But they don't let you. So, what I like to do then is my go to for a just regular, balanced, all around bowler is a symmetrical pearl bowling ball. Pearls usually run leagues in the US, especially because most bowling centers don't put out much oil for their house shot, and the lane surfaces are getting more and more destroyed every year. So you need something to get through the front, and that's where that medium sharp symmetrical pearl ball always is pretty much the go-to.
yeah, I agree.
So from that, let's move on to building a simple three ball arsenal.
Yeah, absolutely. Now, three ball gets a little bit interesting. If so, I'm going to contradict myself a little bit because if you're coming in for one ball, I like to go medium sharp. If you're coming in and like, hey, I have this tropical surge and I need three bowling balls for league, what should I get? What I always recommend for a very just all around balanced bowler, an asymmetrical pearl, medium smooth, like symmetrical solid ball, and then a weaker symmetrical pearl ball. That gives you a good just gap between everything where you don't have two bowling balls that are going to be too similar. That's one of the biggest issues that bowlers run into is I bought these two bowling balls, but they almost do the same thing on a house shot. And you look at them and it's two asymmetrical pearls. Well, unfortunately, they're going to look very similar, especially on a house shot. So this way you have the biggest differentiation of bowling balls. The other way you can go at it, if it's someone who struggles with speed or struggles with their revs a little bit and is very speed dominant, you grab a big asymmetrical solid ball, then you grab that stronger symmetrical pearl, and then the a weaker symmetrical solid just to pair well. Just keep everything as far away as possible for those first three.
Awesome. That's great advice. And now let's just transfer into building a whole six ball arsenal. Like, what do you suggest? What um, are some ideas that you have or some advice you can give to people who are looking to get bigger into leagues and tournaments and stuff like that, and like how would they start into building a bigger arsenal?
or
Yeah.
even
Okay.
rebuilding an arsenal. Because, like, for me, for example, I used to throw 15 pounds. I've thrown 15 pounds since I was 18 years old. I'm almost 36 now. I'm feeling old, so I dropped to 14 pounds. It's been a great move for me because one, I used to have like no reps. I'm getting some now. Yay. Um, but I basically am starting over from scratch. So this is a very like I'm very tuned in and keyed in on this one because I your advice is like really awesome. So
Yeah, absolutely. So jumping to six is the big part. There are so many different combinations that you can go through. And the answer kind of changes between are you bowling just house shots or are you bowling sport shots? The main reason I say that is the biggest, I don't want to say crutch, but biggest tool in bowling right now is urethane. If you're a house bowler, you never have to touch urethane with a 10-foot pole. It's never needed. It ends up hurting your game and your team's game more than actually helping. Um, so I don't. That's the big one. If you're bowling sport shots, then I think urethane is necessary because if others are throwing urethane on a pattern and you're not, you're probably not going to score. It's very, very tough to score without urethane if everyone else is throwing it. So that's kind of the big differentiation there, and then where you bowl too. So if you go just a 6 ball arsenal, I always like using my 6 ball arsenal scale. For anyone not familiar with me or the channel, it's something that I've seen from Chris Barnes, where you have a stronger smooth. You categorize bowling balls into a strong category, a medium category, and a weak category, and then you split it between smooth bowling balls and then sharp bowling balls, and that's the reaction it has down lane. So the easy option is getting a strong smooth ball, asymmetrical solid, a strong sharp ball, asymmetrical pearl usually, medium smooth, symmetrical solid, medium sharp, symmetrical pearl, and then a weak smooth, a weaker symmetrical solid, so usually closer to entry level, and then weakened sharp. So that's always my go-to. If you're a balanced, just middle of the road bowler, you want to start with a 6 ball arsenal, I recommend going with that. Because if you try putting multiple balls in the same category, you get some overlap most of the time, unless you really put in the research and figure out where things fit. Now, sometimes there are bowlers like me, for example. I don't use weak and sharp bowling balls. They never come up. I own a couple of them, and they collect dust a lot of the time, except for very niche situations. Like if I'm bowling in a center where I know there's a lot of friction, or they're just not putting out much oil. So I could probably avoid that and then double up in a different category or bring the plastic ball because everyone, in my opinion, should probably throw a plastic ball at their spares or a urethane or something that you don't have to change your release. For a new bowler, one of the hardest things is to work on your release, really master it, and then have to completely bail out of that release to try to pick up spares. It just adds that little extra variable that can sometimes get tough. So I always recommend that to start. There are situations where like you don't need that strong asymmetrical solid ball, then you can pull that out instead of pulling out a weak and sharp bowling ball. So it really depends on the bowler, but that's usually the start that I have into those conversations.
Awesome.
and then going bowling ball specific. So I had very good success with the Global 900 Eternity, the OG pearl purple,
Yep.
beautiful, right?
Yeah. Yep.
Loved that ball. I shot my highest personal best series with that ball. One ball all night long, moved maybe two boards all night long. Loved that ball. Well, now it's discontinued, sadly. Can't find it in a 14 unless you pay a wazoo out the
Oh yeah.
um in your opinion, considering that ball, what do you think is a close comparison to it in the SPI brand line? Because that's what I mainly throw because I'm here in Utah, so I have to, represent. So
Oh yeah,
in the
for sure.
SPI line, something comparable to the Eternity, because I am missing that ball in my line. I loved what that ball did. So I want something that's comparable.
Yeah. No, for sure. So the quickest like to answer your question in a very short and sweet fashion, the Storm Equinox is going to be your best bet. Now, the reasoning behind it is is a little bit tougher. So, when somebody says, "Yeah, I had this ball and I loved it, but it's discontinued," what's similar? The first thing I look at is the core. So the core of that eternity, let's see. Oh, I gotta log into my computer quick. I believe it was a low RG. The 900 global eternity. Drum roll, please. Internet, don't fail on me now. 2.47 RG and then an 056 diff. So very, very strong core. So first thing I do, what kind of core is similar to that ball? So, oh, I was looking at the Sublime. Excuse me. Hello? No, Eternity. That didn't sound right anyway in my head. 249 050 014. Okay. So the reason I go Equinox is the core is fairly similar. RG differential int diff, close-ish. Not insanely like perfect one-to-one, close-ish. The second one is the cover, and the cover is the toughest thing because the thing I have now noticed with bowling ball companies is they like to all of them minus motive. Motive is weird in this way, in a good way. They don't like to say how their cover stocks line up. So that is the biggest mystery with like what is close to the eternity is the cover stock was S84 response Pearl. Doesn't tell us anything. Doesn't tell us a single good detail minus it's a Pearl.
Besides Pearl, yeah.
But so just the reason I can kind of put those two compared to each other is because I've seen the Eternity go down the lane a lot. I had one. I had a lot of people that I know that had them. So seeing it go down the lane and seeing the Equinox go down the lane, they are very close. There's a lot of personal just knowledge on it. But yeah, it's a little bit tougher. But the good things to do are look at the core and then try to compare the cover a little bit. Yeah, and Steve, they usually don't repeat numbers. No, they always like to do. I mean, bowling companies are like you have to market your stuff. You have to make it look good. So having the latest and greatest cover stock, which is actually very similar to your old school cover stock, like yeah, it's just how it is. But yeah, TLDR is Storm Equinox. I think is going to be your best bet.
It's a great ball too, by the way. I mean, I've
I
seen
love mine.
I see multiple different ways of throwing it from multiple different people, and it all does the same thing. It all finds its way back. So it's a great ball.
Yeah, I when Storm first came out with that ball, they ran the line of this is the new latest and greatest league bowling ball. And they pushed it really hard for league. And for good reason, bowlers kind of said, there's no way that's true. That sounds like marketing mumbo jumbo. And then it comes out and it actually is really designated for league. Asymmetrical pearls are the best league bowling ball. And that one is the perfect, like, weaker cover, stronger core combo that actually works. So, really big kudos to them for doing it because it does fit a lot of play styles. Like I was pretty skeptical of that ball off the rip, and then more and more people started throwing it. I saw it more and more, and it started getting more and more honor scores, and it is a great piece. I'm actually going to open my
Agreed.
window. I can hear you guys yet, but I'll be just a sec.
It's getting warm, sitting in the hot seat.
Yeah, you guys are just grilling me.
Help me with questions, man.
Yeah.
Question.
There we go.
Before we get back into it, I want to give you the opportunity to plug your merch because I saw
Another shout out.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
Yeah, absolutely. So I want to give the biggest thank you to Bowler Store. They are easily the coolest people I've worked with in the bowling industry. Like before this point, just with and as like a company, they were super awesome. They're very progressive in the way like we want to get on these new shops, these new apps first. So they were actually the first bowling shop to be on Amazon, which I didn't really realize. Now they're trying to be the first shop on TikTok, and they succeeded. So I was talking with them a little bit, met them when I was in Michigan, and we were talking a little bit, talking about TikTok, how it works, all of that jazz. And I was looking for someone new for merchandise because I was going through Teespring, and they were okay, but they were royally slow, royally slow. So yeah, everything came together and like, yeah, we can make your merch for you. So that's where this hoodie is from. Just this year's ZVL bowling colors on a dark blue. There's also t-shirts and a crew neck. Crew neck I'll be showing off next week. and you can actually buy it on TikTok. The first bowling stuff you can buy on TikTok. So if you just look up Bowler Store, or you go to my ZVL bowling page and look at my TikTok showcase, or you just go to bowlerstore.com and search ZVL, then you're going to be able to find all of my merch. So everything I've tried, all the shirts so far, tried the sweatshirt just to test quality. That's always the biggest issue, and they are amazing, much better quality than I even expected.
That's awesome, dude.
That's way awesome.
Congrats.
Yeah, thank you. And now, the cool thing that we want to go towards is, hey, I have this Arsenal guide that I'm doing, and I'm talking about, the best bowling balls from Storm right now. Well, what you can do instead of going through multiple different area avenues to try to find like where you can purchase that bowling ball, you can just do it on TikTok Shop now. You can just probably hopefully be able to click on something in my showcase. Hey, Zach really likes the Equinox. Oh yeah, we can just go click this link on Bowler Store, and there's the Equinox to purchase. That'll get here in like 3 days. So hopefully that helps build kind of the TikTok bowlers area a little better, because as you're trying to find that other bowling ball, you might have some misinformation thrown at you. You might see other reviews that are throwing different bowling balls at you, things like that.
That's awesome. That's neat.
That's amazing.
Yeah, it
Very
should be cool.
Okay.
Pickles, I think it's your turn to talk about some CBS PBA update stuff.
He's got pickle problems, so we got to keep him in line.
My apologies. I've been dealing with a lot this week. Car accident and all this other stuff. But what is your thoughts with the transition with the television schedule changing? Do you think it's
Oh man, that is such a loaded question. It is an interesting area because Fox and the PBA. So I wasn't a big PBA guy before like 2015, 16. Before I started getting into bowling, I just didn't care much for it. But the Fox deal with PBA sounded like the greatest thing ever when it happened. That sounded like the coolest thing. Because Fox is massive, and they dumped a lot of money into the PBA. They were able to make those $100,000 events happen. Really cool. They added, PBA was able to add Specto in that time, all that stuff. That was really cool. It sounds like there were some issues with the next contract, and there are a lot of the executive businessy type things happened, and luckily the PBA got picked up. It didn't sound like Tom Clark wasn't too concerned about that, so it ended up being the CW, which a lot of people raised their eyebrows at because nobody really knows much about the CW. Looking into it more, I thought it was the coolest thing ever because the CW is free, just no matter what. If you own a TV, you can get the CW. If you own a satellite, you can get the CW. If you don't own either, you can get the CW through their app. You can watch it, you can do all that. One of my biggest problems with bowling the last couple of years on Fox was I actually, let's see, no Fox execs, please come after me. I better not hear some lawyers at my door in a little bit. I actually had to snag my parents' cable username and password to actually watch the PBA. Otherwise, I had to watch it the next day or the next week on YouTube, which kind of sucked. So the CW, right. I was really happy because hey, I can actually watch this stuff without stealing anybody's information. Now it's my parents and they were okay with it, but stealing anybody's information, and I can actually see that. That's awesome. That's super cool. Hopefully, it opens up some more avenues. Then the news came out that it was only going to be 10. I believe it was 10 shows is all they were doing, which wasn't or no, it was 5 shows, 5 2-hour shows, which the next question was, where are the rest of them going? And it sounds like, and now CBS has picked them up, which is unfortunately like the exact polar opposite of the CW, where it's even harder to watch CBS and CBS Sports Network than it is the CW. So, and I'm not a big fan of it being on multiple platforms. I think one of the worst things for growth is A, not having a schedule, not having a specific time and date that you are on, and then B, being on different networks. Like I've always, one of my biggest pet peeves, I don't know, something about me, where I like videos, like my YouTube videos, they will be going out at noon Central Time every Tuesday, Thursday, Sunday. That is just how I do it. I feel like people want to see that a little more. Like you can look forward to a new schedule, like football, for example. You know, hey, for me at least, Central Time, noon is there's going to be football. Doesn't matter. It's going to be a team. It might not be your team, but there's going to be football. Where bowling didn't really have that, and I was hoping CW would really amplify that. Um, CBS, I'm not really sure. Hopefully they do, but again, that just issue of having to have a subscription or have cable makes it a little tougher. So beggars can't be choosers, I guess. It's better than being on Bowl TV only and slashing our viewership by 99%, but yeah,
100%.
not bad, not great.
I was gonna say I see the bowling community and sport getting ready to blow up and blossom. It's starting to get that hype back. I mean, just in 6 months on this app alone, there's been a huge influx in it.
There has. I want to give first the biggest shout out to the TikTok bowling goat Lance Hill.
Oh,
That
heck
dude,
Yes.
yes.
yeah, he is still the number one most followed bowling account on TikTok that doesn't just do reposts. I know there's a couple of repost guys who do okay. But he is truly the one who started it. He
Mhm.
was just doing his thing. And I've met Lance. He's an awesome dude, very down to earth. Unfortunately, his job gets in the way where he can't post really much anymore because he's working these 60, 70 hour weeks at a car dealership, which is unfortunate. But he really paved the way for other TikTokers to be able to jump in and make things explode in whatever way they wanted to. Whether you're a Sarah Bowles who doesn't get technical. She just bowls. She just bowls and has fun. She's at 50, 60,000 followers at this point. If you want to get informative, it helped me be able to blow up to get to 17,000 now. There's a lot of other really cool accounts of people who were able to really grow because he was kind of able to break that wall, and you're able to see a lot of bowling now on TikTok.
Right.
Oh, definitely.
Because bowling at the end of the day, like it is behind. It is behind in times of technology specifically. Like if you go into your bowling center, you talk to bowlers, whatever it may be, we are just years behind. We are. And being able to break through into social media is huge for the sport. And I think that's really going to be the way that we do make this sport actually blow up and become big is social media, is YouTube, is whoever it may be. And Tony, Sarah started going live again. Yeah, Sarah unfortunately got hit with that really bad wrist injury, which really limited her actually bowling. But with her actually posting a little more now, that might be big.
She had surgery, and so she is still in recovery mode. She just upgraded to, I think, a 10-pound now ball. She's doing everything appropriately. She's doing the right things. She's building up slowly again. She's not just jumping back into it, which is really, really good. But yeah, she did just start doing posting again, which is awesome. I talk to her frequently. Sarah is amazing. Yeah, she's actually one of the female. She's one of the females that I started following at very first when I started like really deciding to do bowling on TikTok. I followed Sarah, and she kind of helped guide me a little bit on kind of like what I needed to start doing, what I needed to start looking at when I was posting and things like that. And so I credit a lot of my like kickoff to her. So
That's really cool to hear. That is awesome. Yeah, every interaction I've had with her has been super, super positive. She just took that deal with Bowlify,
yeah,
where she is. I'm going to mess up the name of her official title, but I think it's like lead youth ambassador for
yeah,
Bowlify. Yeah,
yes,
so that's so cool.
yeah.
So yeah, hopefully we see more of a blow up as we keep going. I think just there's gonna be more people who do it better, which is awesome. We're still at the early stages of social media for bowling, and I've seen this in other areas and other more like gaming type areas where you see just the infancy of it, and then it just blows up as people do it better and better and better.
Right.
And I've seen
Yeah, no, I'm
a misconnection with. I'm sure you've probably seen the video of the guy that said, I could bowl against the pros on sport pattern like it's not a big deal. I want your opinion on that.
Have you seen that video?
I have. Yep.
I know I did.
Yep, I've seen it a few times now.
Yeah.
There was actually one earlier where I commented back at the guy. It was some like sports betting podcast from New Orleans. And they were saying like, yeah, bowling. They were talking about how bowling's so easy and how one of them shot like a 210 because they've been bowling weekly for a couple weeks. And they're like, yeah, this is so easy. So I commented back saying, I would love to have a conversation with you guys about this. And they said, deal, we'll take you up on it. And they never got back to me, those jerks. So I would have loved to. But in that same vein, bowling is bowling is so hard because it's invisible.
Yeah.
Golf's US Open is happening right now, and I'm not the biggest like professional golf fan, but they were showing some of the crazy things that were happening, like what they did to the course to make it tougher. They made the roughs longer, they made the greens much harder, and just the slopes and everything and the speed of it are absurd. So you can easily see that though. Like any average Joe that you pull from the sidewalk, you show them that, like, hey, the roughs are thicker. Does that make it harder? Well, yes.
Yeah.
Bowling, you say, hey, here's a chart. Hey, here's a bowling lane. Is that harder? They're like, I don't know. So the education of the sport is just lacking. And that is,
Yeah.
I think, a big misstep with a lot of just bowlers in general. Not even just the average bowler, but I think like the higher ups. Like I think USBC tried, and it just didn't work out. They didn't have really the platform for it. PBA has not done a good job at it. Unfortunately, sorry PBA, I will call you out on this. There is I don't know if it's the commentary or it's just the PBA as in general. They really cater it towards the experienced bowlers, which is fine. But if I'm someone new, I just bought my first ball from my pro shop and I know nothing about the game, and I hear Randy Peterson freak out about a stone 8 pin and he never says why, like I have no idea what that means.
I agree exactly with 100% what you're saying right now because the commentating could be a lot better just for the average bowler, not necessarily for the person that doesn't know the higher end balls that they're throwing. It's not necessarily about the gear that they're throwing, but how they're trying to figure out the transition and that type of stuff.
Yeah, and that's actually I had a we had a work lunch last like Wednesday. And someone had asked me about the bowling stuff because we were talking about traveling and I was just in Michigan, so I talked about that a little bit. And they asked me, "Well, how many bowling balls do you have?" And I said, "My house right now, like 60," and that's an issue in and of itself. But they asked me, "Why do you need that many? What is the reason?" I said, "Well, every ball is different. Every ball is like a golf club, where you can play an entire course with your pitching wedge. You're not going to do well. You'll do fine, but you need to be really, really skilled to do well with just that pitching wedge.
Yeah.
Or you grab a driver, you grab a 5 iron, you grab a pitching wedge, you grab a putter. That's what bowling's like, where those are your different clubs for different scenarios. But then they ask, well, you should only need one because there's only one scenario all the time.
Nope.
Then you have to explain, no, well, oil patterns are, there's actually oil on the lane that is shaped in ways to make it easier or harder.
Right.
So you can change. It's like if you go to a golf course and you have an invisible water hazard in one area. That's what oil patterns do. They put invisible water hazards in certain places, trying to make you play a certain way with a certain ball. And it's something that the average person just doesn't know, and it's because we haven't really been able to educate people on it. One of my biggest ones is I think it was F1 Racing got they were able to get an HBO Max like series. I don't know, don't quote me on if it was F1. It was some kind of racing one. And it blew up the sport, opened up the sport completely, where people actually understood, oh, racing isn't just driving in circles. That's not all it is all the time. It's just not who can press the gas the most. And that's something bowling needs, is
Oh,
some way to get to the public eye like, hey, this isn't just throw ball at front pin and hope they all fall down.
we need a
But
Netflix documentary. We need a
yep,
Netflix.
Right.
we do. Netflix. I know you're watching this.
Netflix, come on. Netflix.
Just another bowling movie in general, like, would be phenomenal right now.
Right. I feel like we need a bowling movie to come back.
Listen to this, Adam Sandler, make a bowling video.
No, he's got the golf thing. We need somebody else for.
He's got golf and basketball locked down at this point.
Dude, he can do anything.
It's true. It's true. But maybe I don't know. Maybe Jack Black. Maybe
let's get an Owen Wilson.
Oh, there you
go. Yeah. He finished Loki. He was just in like a sad movie. Let's get him to something fun.
Let's get him. Let's give him some bowling. Get some free therapy out of it.
Yeah.
Grown-ups night at the Bolero.
I was really hoping the Tom Smallwood TV series would actually help. It was so bad. That was so. It's so unfortunate.
His little climb up victory ladder.
Yeah. I wish. Like Tom Smallwood's a great dude
for that.
But yeah. They made it so like old school sitcom, just full housey. Like that isn't it.
Yeah. You know who did a pretty good? I know it's probably childish, but who did a pretty good take on bowling movies was Disney. Did anybody see the Disney movie Alley Cat Strikes or something like that? I think is what it was.
Yes,
it was
I just
a
watched
high
that the other day.
school movie. It was a high school bowling team movie. So it was like 90s, maybe early 2000s. But yeah, he had worked at a bowling alley, family-owned bowling alley. He wore the old classic button-up bowling shirts. Kids made fun of him all the time. They're like, "Where'd you get your shirts? From the back of a bowling alley?" He's like, "Actually, from a catalog in the back of the bowling alley, but thanks." Like, just that kind of quick commentary. They show a unrealistic way of picking up a 7-10 split, obviously, but it's just, it's good old-fashioned fun, and I really enjoy it.
It's good.
Yeah. Yeah, the thing that bowlers have to realize is we play in the biggest sport in the world. More people bowl than any other sport in the planet. Soccer's got nothing on bowling. There are more people who bowl a game in a year than ever touch a soccer ball. It's crazy, but how do you get to that next level? Yeah, is it some kind of just simple movie? It's got to be something. It can be even more simple than that. And that's kind of what I'm trying to do in the YouTube side. I know Kevin Williams has a thing where he wants to make bowling cool, and it's great, but there's got to be other avenues where you can get more people either back into bowling or into bowling. Right now, I don't know where it came from, but it's the biggest influx of DMs that I get. Like honestly, almost a majority are people saying, "Hey, I quit bowling 10 years ago and I'm getting back into it. What ball should I get? These are the ones I used to have back in the early 2010s or the 2000s. What do I do now?" I don't know why, but just where people are going.
But hey, that's right. We're all supporting and we're all growing together, and I mean that's amazing that you are a huge informational point. Like I know that when your videos come across my For You page, it's like, "Oh, are we doing a ball review today? Okay, I'm gonna stop. Is it a storm one? Nah, it's a motive. I'm gonna go. Never mind. Just kidding." Like I watch them, but at the same time, I'm like, to me, it's not my brand, right? Like I would rather watch the SPI reviews or things like that because I'm like, that's more where I bowl, and so it's like I love listening to all the other ones because I'll be honest, the Black Widow 3.0 was almost a game changer. I almost jumped ship just because of that ball.
Ooh. Would you have gotten kicked out of the state if you did that?
Might have.
Like, would you have had the Storm lawyers at your door? Like, I'm gonna have the Fox lawyers in a second.
Yeah, I might have to like hit up Nebraska and go bowl with Victor Cortez. You know, I mean, I don't know, just be like, "Hey, I got kicked out of Utah for bowling." He's like signed with Storm now, so he'd be like,
"Yeah, that's the wrong guy to go to." Yeah, he's gonna rat you out for that.
Yeah.
Just don't go look at the Mania or the Pure Envy. Them two balls are super great too.
Oh yeah,
I'm a Brunswick guy.
Yeah.
So
no, don't worry. The Storm reviews are going to come out next week, so be ready for that. Like Monday, Tuesday. So the High Road and the Ion Pro Solid.
I think a huge step would be to get bowling into the Olympics.
Oh, that is
100%.
such a
That's
political
a
catastrophe.
yes. That's
That
what
would
I
be
was like.
great. Have
Come
you
on,
guys ever
they.
looked into the Olympics, like how they choose what sports make it?
Yeah, and here's the thing.
I haven't.
Oh, it's so dumb.
Yeah,
It's so stupid. So every host country gets the main choices of what they add. So like, last year the biggest issue was breakdancing. They're like, why do we have breakdancing? The reason that these weird sports get added is because the host country believes they can win a gold medal or a medal in that sport.
something. Yeah,
So baseball is the perfect example. Baseball was out of the Olympics for no reason for so many years. The reason is because nobody else wanted to play Japan or the US in baseball. It just
right.
was not a thing.
Yeah.
And then when everything went back to Japan, I believe it was either in China or Japan in 20 or 16. I don't remember which summer games, but they brought back baseball because that host country could win. And now baseball is back on the chopping block. The sport that's being added for LA, flag football. Well, of course. Like how many other countries have American football?
Flag football.
Right.
Yep. Flag football is in the Olympics for 28 because it's in LA and the US said, yeah, we can win that.
Bro.
Yep.
We can
So
win bowling too.
that was the big one when the bowling got
What?
really close a couple years ago, but their biggest argument was the youth. There weren't many youth bowlers and they couldn't actually
I,
showcase, like bowling couldn't showcase, this is how many youth bowlers there are. And that's one issue too is data and analytics.
I,
Is if we can
one
get the
question.
analytics for how many people bowl, all of their age ranges and all of that, you can throw that at a committee and they'll say, "Oh man, maybe we should include them." But
That's what I was going to
bowling's
say.
behind the times.
What facts are they going off with flag football? Who do they know
Who's
that we
who's
have
the youth
flag
being
football?
listed on that stuff?
Right, that's
Like,
what I'm
The
saying, like,
Yeah, the reason was the NFL
where
is
are
the
they
only
getting
reason.
this
Yeah,
information?
right.
Like, oh, flag
Yeah.
football's the way to go.
It's literally just, I
That's
mean, I think it's close to football, and it's the only way we can add in American football. And if you look, I mean, it's one of the most played high school sports in the US. So like, we should probably include that. Or they just look at the NFL's viewership numbers and see, oh man, all those people are going to want to watch. So we should probably include that because look at all those viewers we're going to get. That's a big part of it too, is actually making money because the host countries
oh yeah.
never make money on the Olympics.
right.
Right.
I think the youth aspect of it's getting a big push into it. A lot of schools are starting to transition into
I agree.
sporting events through it. And I mean, some of them kids at the 15, 16, 17-year-old age marks are doing better than some of us has been bowling for years. So
Oh yeah, absolutely. I mean, look at the PBA the last year. A lot of the rookie guys that are coming in are nuts. College bowlers are crazy.
Right.
They're so good. I'm bowling against them in amateur things. They're on a different level. They are absolutely on a different level, and coaching's getting better. Just training's getting better. Um, So I think we're in a point where in 5 years you're going to see even more growth, but you need that early on youth bowler to actually want to stick with the program.
Right.
The biggest issue with this sport is burnout. I've seen it so often in Minnesota because a lot of coaches, there's one specifically in Minnesota who pushes that you need to be bowling 24/7. You need to be bowling 12 months a year. It, so many people come out of the Minnesota high school programs and they never touch a ball again. So like this is we just bowled for 12 months straight every year for 5, 6 years. I can't ever look at a ball again. That's one of the issues is I think a lot of bowling coaches want bowlers to only do that thing like other sports specialize, but things like basketball, yes, you can play 12 months out of the year, but there is an off season. Bowling for youth, there is no off season because you finish out the school year and hey, there's junior gold. I mean, all those other youth events that are kicking off now. And you need to prep for that. Hey, junior gold's over. Oh, high school practice starts in a month, so you better start preparing for that. And then the cycle never ends.
Right.
Hi, Patrick.
well, I think I think a lot of high school programs ruin sporting period for kids. They overdo it and require way too much out of them. At the end of the day, they are kids and they need to enjoy their life as a kid. So, and I think they're losing development and people skills from that too because they're always focused on one avenue, not nothing else. You know.
Yeah, absolutely. That's something. It's more and more common now because everyone needs to keep up with the competition. I mean, athletes are getting better and better and better every year. It's a way, it's how it is. Athletes are getting faster, stronger, jump higher, all of that. So to be able to keep up, you have to specialize, but specializing takes away so much. So I grew up in tiny, tiny small town. Like I'm on a farm, or I grew up on a farm that was about a mile and a half away from a town with 150 people. So that's where I grew up, as small town as you get. So in those schools, you have to play multiple sports. Everybody plays multiple sports because you don't have a choice. You don't have enough kids to actually have an only basketball players group or an only baseball players group. You need people to play everything. And that actually helps in a lot of ways because you're able to get those different areas, see those different groups, play against those different teams, and learn those different skills compared to I was a basketball player for 18 years and now I will never touch a basketball with a 10-foot pole again.
See, we're lucky out here. Our high school has a bowling team, and I think they have like 42 bowlers on it. I mean, give and take, it's a total number of 3,100 students in the whole school. 42 is not a really good percentage, but you're getting that engagement.
Yeah, and that's honestly not bad. What I've seen for a lot of high school programs is you need those couple people who are like those super popular kids who get into bowling and love it. At my hometown, we started a soccer team because soccer was not a high school sport in Minnesota for quite a while. And they started a soccer team and they were worried about numbers. Well, our starting point guard on the basketball team was a really good soccer player. So he joined and he recruited so many people that just kept the pipeline going because they saw success early. And when you see success, people want to join your sport. It's the, what did our school call it? The state champion effect, is where if you win a state championship in a sport, you know a lot of kids that are elementary school kids who went and watch are going to want to play that sport forever.
Yeah.
And you need that in
Yep.
bowling somehow. You need those popular kids or the really athletic kids to jump into bowling, see a lot of success, hype up a state tournament a little bit and not make it as boring as it is a lot of the time and get people to want to go do it.
Yeah.
Right. I agree.
And it's not boring. It's fucking bowling.
It's
That's the
awesome.
hard part.
It's
It's
so fun. Like
yeah.
even when you're having your bad days and you're like we're all supporting each other. So like it's I think that's the best part of bowling.
Yeah, and I
Agreed.
the viewer experience, like watching college bowling, can be a ton of fun. Head-to-head matches can be so great when there's emotion. If you can
Oh
show emotion and you can do that, it is so fun to watch. But it can be like a qualifying block for bowling can get pretty boring because there's 120 bowlers in a center and they're just all bowling their games. And bowlers can't have their emotions go super high or super low in 6 game qualifying blocks or 3 game qualifying blocks. But if you're going head to head, you can do it and you can make people want to watch you. And that's
right.
the biggest thing that bowling runs into is we all love it watching it. How do we get a random person to watch it? Bring some emotion into it, bring some hype into it, make it fun to watch in some way.
And honestly, like sometimes when I watch some team events and I see the team camaraderie and they actually are like hyping each other up, like I will definitely watch that all day, just for the simple
Oh yeah,
fact,
team collegiate bowling.
I
just
started as a
hyping
collegiate
each other
bowler
up.
as well, and
Mhm.
I the women collegiate bowlers, they're my favorites. I love the women's teams because they're the ones that do all the cheers and everything, and it just
Yeah,
is great. Like Florida State, they have probably the best cheers on their bowling team, hands down. I love Florida State's bowling cheers, best ones ever. So collegiate bowling, near and dear to my heart. I love watching them because those, if you want true emotions, those ones will give it to you for sure.
I mean, I think that's what we should be doing is team collegiate events. Just the emotion they showed during that makes bowling so much easier to watch.
Absolutely.
Like
That's been the
if
biggest
they push
argument.
that,
Yeah, that could be so good. The biggest argument I saw against the PBA is how boring it can be to watch
Yeah.
with some of the bowlers. Like, of course, they're bowling for a ton of money, but there is zero emotion. Like if you look at EJ, the best bowler in the world right now, he doesn't show emotion anymore. He is stone cold, just stereotypical. I'm a dad. I go mow my lawn when I'm home and I do housework. And then I go and have the greatest PBA run of all time. And then I go back home and I take care of my kid and I just do my stuff. Like he doesn't have that wow factor. And that makes it tough when you don't have that. So college bowling, with all their hype and all of that, all the rivalry, 100% can do that. But pro bowling doesn't have that. So how do you bring that into different atmospheres, different areas? Because a lot of people don't like that. A lot of more old school bowlers like I want to see people be. I saw somebody mention that like Sam Cooley's a robot. Steve did. I want to see people more just no emotions, just throw your shot, go and sit down. But it's not fun to watch for the average person.
I mean,
So
that's why I think Packy is doing such amazing things for the sport because even in the head-to-heads, he's sitting there. He's like, "Hey, let's get the crowd involved. Let's get loud. Like, let's show some emotion. Let's sit there and like when we strike, let's scream. Let's like." Like I guess best example, one of the things that got me to originally start watching bowling was Pete Weber. Like
Yep.
his
Oh, like
emotion.
everybody. Yep. So many people came in for Pete.
Like
so
it's just, I think that's something the PBA definitely needs to focus on.
Yep. His quote is still, it's so cold but so good, is
Yeah,
love me or hate me,
one
you
of
still
the
watch me.
biggest.
Like, oh
Yeah,
my God. He was such a jerk too. Dude's on he's been on every drug on the planet. He's been kicked out of the PBA so many times. He's a jerk in so many situations. But he was so good for the sport.
yeah.
Yeah.
He brings the numbers.
Yep.
You're so
We
right.
need a younger version of him coming up now to bring it back. I think is just a big wow factor in your face kind of a thing.
Yeah, that's where Cam Crow people are really hoping for because Cam, so I was in Michigan about a month ago for a big Memorial Day tournament they ran. Cam bowled and he won it. He needed a strike on the second shot in the 10th to win for $10,000. He throws a shot. It was a soft kick of the 4 pin onto the 7 pin to tip it. He had the greatest celly I've seen. He is just yelling and walking it out, and it was awesome to watch. But we need all of that instead of just throw shot, just a quick little woo, and then that's it. But
Right.
he
so
was.
I know
Fired up.
that's why, like,
Mhm.
personally, like, when I go live on, like, Tuesdays and Thursdays for, like, my bowling leagues and stuff, I'm very much like, here's my honest reactions to everything. I will tell you when I'm happy. I will tell you when I'm mad. Like, you will know everything that I'm thinking because I I people watch in person, right? And I watch when people I'm scrolling through TikTok because I'm like, I want to see what people are thinking. I want to know what people are thinking. Like, do you think that was a good shot, even though it struck? Like, are you happy with that shot? Did you do what you wanted to do, or was it luck of the draw? Like my 233 game that I had game one on Tuesday, one of my turkey shot like out of my six bagger for the back six. My turkey was the worst shot on the planet. I dropped the ball. It went way outside. I was hoping and praying it come back. You know what I mean? Like, and I said out loud, I was like, I dropped the shit out of this ball. Come on, please come back. Like I was begging the ball. I was talking to it the whole way as it hit the pocket and everything. I'm like, because I didn't throw it good. I dropped it. And that's, everybody was like, that was an awesome strike. I'm like, no, it wasn't. Thank you. But it wasn't because I didn't execute the way I wanted
Good
to.
job.
And you guys will know that because I mic up and I want to make sure that you guys get the real honest me because I enjoy watching that from other people. And if I enjoy watching it, I want to also do that so that other people can enjoy watching that as well.
So the
Okay,
perfect way to look
Brian,
at it, yeah,
go
like
ahead.
most
Go ahead.
bowlers, like if you like watching something, you're not the only one on the planet. It's kind of that idea for social media, like if you have an interest in something, like if you are a strong advocate for watching someone pound nails into a board, a carpenter pound nails into a board, you're not the only one. There's going to be hundreds of other people who love that. So in bowling, like, yeah, you like seeing that, guaranteed a ton of other bowlers like watching that.
Right. So,
Right. And
Pickles, you've been
speaking
pretty
of,
quiet tonight.
No, I was just
You
gonna
get,
say,
yes,
like,
everybody
for
in the
for what he
chat.
was just gonna say, you know what my algorithm is? It's pickles, bro.
Well,
Just pickles
everything is
all the
pickles.
time.
I thought that was a good transition into that. So,
Yes,
Swear to God.
everybody in the chat, if you are, there's 23 of you watching, so including all of us who are here in the actual podcast, take the opportunity, make sure you are following all of us. Help you grow the bowling community, especially follow Zach with ZVL. He's an amazing source of information. Obviously, we love having him on the podcast so far. But yes, make sure that everybody takes an opportunity to follow everybody in here who is a bowler because that is
Screen.
what we are all about is supporting and growing everybody's.
One of the
definitely
best ways
tap
to
that
keep growing
screen.
bowling is follow and like a lot of bowling stuff on socials, grow them bigger and bigger so they reach other non-bowlers.
Yeah.
Agreed. Yep.
I agree, Army. I think we're all following each other. But we're a tight knit group and we're growing. I mean, it's starting to progress, and I thank everybody who is in here that is continuing to bring that to everybody.
And I have to ask Zach, if you could see anybody, your dream guest star on the learning curve, who would you like to see on the learning curve?
Ooh, our guest. Um,
Because I mean, you're our first one, man. You're our first guest. You were big shoes to fill, so
oh
you set the
boy,
bar
who
all the way up here. So,
man?
who do you think who would be your star person to watch on the learning curve?
No
Yeah.
pressure, none
Oh yeah, I'm a
whatsoever.
little scared.
We're gonna edit this with
Hey,
like
last week I talked about having
positive
Dari on the show, and I
colors and
cried like
stuff.
a baby. So I mean, there's no
Ooh,
pressure whatsoever.
ooh,
What were you
yeah. Good
What were
luck
you
with
saying,
Daria.
Brian?
I mean, me and Britt live in Utah. We've bowled with her so many times. Like, it's a possibility. Both
Yeah.
her and Gio.
Both
Like,
her
we see
and her
them so many
boyfriend
times during
Gio,
so
we
many
see him all
tournaments.
the time. Like, it's possible. It could
Best part
definitely
about
happen.
living in Utah, you get to
Yeah,
see
you
all the
guys have
storm
a
people at
lot
the
of
local
connections there.
tournaments.
Yeah, you could get a Chad, you could get an Alex Hoskins.
We have a Chase Nadeau scheduled for the
Oh,
show here in July. Hopefully,
there
he's
you
just waiting
go.
to hear on dates. So
Yep.
yeah, we have. He was one of the first people I reached out to, and he was like, absolutely, 100%.
Nice.
I was like,
That's a good thing with bowlers. They'll say yes. So fun story. There was a guy who DM'd me on Instagram who's been following me for a while, and he said, "Hey, I'm doing a high school project. Can I interview you?" Said, "Yeah, absolutely, 100%." And we set something up and we're talking, and he says, "Yeah, I reached out to a lot of bowling guys, and I have you, and then I have Chris Barnes who said yes." Like, how the hell did you get Chris?
that's a
That's
Right?
big
awesome.
jump in like scale.
Yeah. It's like, cool. You got the biggest, most influential bowler almost of the last 30 years. That's it, but bowlers just
Chump
say yes.
change.
Bowlers will do
Chump
it
change.
because they're like, "Oh, this sounds awesome." There's so many podcasts you see. There's one guy I know who's close to my area. He runs a channel called Bowling with the Fef on YouTube. And there's a day I'm just chilling on. I was doing some editing or something, and I posted, and I saw he uploaded a interview with Tom Clark because why not? And it's the cool thing that bowlers will say yes. So I think that answers it is Tom Clark would be, I think, the coolest one for you guys because he is so good in any situation like this and is so transparent and is just such a positive dude. I've never met Tom, but he is one of the coolest guys, I think, just seeing him in various situations. I think he would be awesome to have on something like this.
You hear that, Tom Clark?
Yep.
Hey,
Someone
everybody,
send this to Tom. He's
somebody
got to have a
better
mutual
post
here.
this.
Yep.
Yeah, I was gonna
Somebody
say we'll
better
clip
post
it and
this
send it everywhere.
and
We'll let
tag
TikTok do
Tom
its thing.
Clark.
Exactly. He's got to be a TikToker at heart.
Right? He's gotta have a secret account somewhere.
Oh, yeah. He's got a burner.
He's one of those user with the long numbers or whatever. He's just
Yeah.
trolling. I'm
Oh,
trolling.
Yeah. He better not be one of my trolls.
Seriously, how many trolls do you have? I mean, we all have a lot of trolls.
Yeah, it's low-key not bad. It was a little bad early on, because like when I would post shots, if you post your form, there's always going to be one guy who's like, you throw it like this, but you
Yeah.
ignore him, it's fine, it's not a big deal. One of the bigger ones lately has been on YouTube, where there's one guy, and it's always fun to see him. I love trolls. I have pretty thick skin at the end of the day, so it doesn't really affect me, which can get into my bowling toxicity kind of thing, a hill I'm trying to die on right now. And he'll always say, "These bowling balls are stupid. I'll never buy one. They're all the same." Every single ball video. Like,
You're right.
sorry,
In an
bro. You
aspect,
don't
they're
have
all
to buy
round,
it.
I guess.
Yeah.
They're all the
You
same.
don't have to buy it. It's okay. It's fine.
He loves
You can
mine.
throw your 2015 Roto Grip ball yet. It's cool.
So he just flips script on, what if I bought you a ball? Would you take it? Oh, yeah, definitely.
Yeah, exactly.
Right.
Like, oh, yeah,
I
you're
sent you a
offering.
piece. Yep. Every time.
It's an expensive sport. I mean, I have to agree there. I mean, we dropped, what, $1,400 2 months ago on bowling balls? I mean, it's just expensive.
It is. It's hard.
I mean, sometimes in leagues too, because I mean, being in 2 to 3 leagues, especially when you get into winter leagues, you're putting in a lot of money.
Yeah, leagues are expensive and bowling balls are expensive. Practice can be expensive at times. It's
Bowling
really tough
shoes
in
could
that
be
way.
expensive.
Bowling shoes, yeah. It all gets pricey and it's finding ways to make it less pricey, which helps. So like being able to look up the bowling balls and look at credible reviews to know, is this ball good? Are they trying to sell me hot garbage? Does the torpedo direct hit actually hook from 20 to the gutter? No, it doesn't. Nobody buy that stupid ball.
Garbage comment.
What'd you say?
Please tag the hot garbage comment.
Oh, God.
Buy it, don't do
I think
it.
I think my next ball is the hammerhead.
Yes, good call. That was really good.
Good ball.
Middle of the road, medium smooth, just symmetrical, solid, just versatile piece.
Yeah, I got too much ASIM. I need to start getting some symmetrical pieces. So
Yep. I wish there was a way that you could try out bowling balls a little more and have cheaper ways of finding them.
More demo.
I really, yeah, demo days are great. There's less and less of them. I know Storm is still very good with demo days. They're awesome. They're still running them, but the problem is, like, Storm doesn't make much money on demo days. They
Right.
make their money hoping people buy bowling balls on demo days, but they don't. They don't make a whole lot. Motive, what they do is they charge everybody a minimum of like I think it's $20 to be able to do the demo day. And then if you buy a bowling ball, they take that $20 away, or you get that $20 off of your ball.
Right. Yeah.
Now,
Yeah, I was gonna say that's what Storm's doing right now for
it
the
is now.
Storm Utah Open. It's
Oh,
$50 to do a matchmaker
Yeah.
down
whoa.
next town over from where I live.
Wow.
I'm
Oh
lucky,
Yeah.
yeah,
That's a
so
little.
it's a little excessive.
It's a
Just
little
saying,
I
much,
get
yeah.
just a little.
I get to
I mean, it's
so
more about the experience, I guess,
Yeah.
because
Yeah.
it's with a PBA event, so you have
Oh,
Mitch Hoope coming down, Chase Nadeau, Darren Tang are all going to be here to help
So it's an experience.
coach with everything. So I think that's where the higher price point comes in.
so
that makes more sense, yeah.
I was like, if it's
uh,
just
uh,
demoing balls, that's a
That would be
lot.
wild.
That's a
Right.
see my pro shop guy, he allows us to demo him for free, but he's a Hall of Famer, so he gets access to things that other people don't. So
Yep. Yeah, I think still one of the best things with bowling that I don't think many staffers do, and I can get onto a staffer rant for hours, is staffers cannot sell their bowling ball. So if you're on a contract with a company, like if you're with Storm Bowling and you have a contract with them where you're a Storm staff member and they send you stuff or you buy stuff from them, you can't sell it at all. You have to give it away or you have to throw the bowling ball away are the only two options. So I think that's really good because that helps keep like youth programs or other random bowlers around.
Right.
So in my area, we're a pretty small town, like where I live now. It's about 30,000 people. There's two Storm staffers that have lived in the area for 40-ish years about. So our area, you nobody throws Brunswick, nobody throws Motive. I think we have one Motive guy out of our 200 league bowlers, and him and I are the only two that have ever thrown a Motive ball in those leagues, because everybody has been given hand-me-down equipment from the Storm guys. So it's been a huge success for Storm because they just give their ball to somebody who's like kind of getting into bowling, kind of not, and boom, there you just saved $150 on a ball. So hopefully more staffers do that in other areas, but I'm not positive. Hopefully none are selling. I know there are always those bad apples, and a lot of people get kicked every year because they tried making a quick buck off of their old bowling balls. But
Right. Yeah. I honestly like I donate anything that I don't really want or I know that we I I throw it back into the bowling center to these.
yeah, that's a perfect idea. Patrick said it too. If we sell them, we're immediately released. Yeah. I know there was a couple in this kind of Midwest area. There was a guy who was trying to sell them, and he got away with it for like a year or two. But then he ended up putting one on Facebook Marketplace. And then it was instantly kicked out of the company and blackmailed so no
Yep.
other company will pick him up. Because that's the hard thing with bowling that no one really realizes. It is a very tight knit group. Everyone knows everyone. If you
Yep.
make enemies with Storm Bowling, they're going to tell Brunswick about it. Like someone in Brunswick is going to find out, and someone from Motive is going to find out. So, yeah, don't be a jerk in this space.
Yeah, 100%.
Okay, I have to ask you, Zach.
Mhm. Yep.
Ideal oil conditions. What are you? Do you like playing on short, medium, or long better?
Oh, give me a long pattern every day of the week. My ball roll likes a long pattern a lot better. Give me 46 feet. Give me give me a high friction bowling center and I will whack them. So I've gotten better with short patterns, just really getting better with urethane. Um, Urethane is really important on your layout, which I'm now realizing more and more in the last couple of years. But nah, give me a long pattern and we're good to go.
What's your favorite long pattern?
See, long pattern names are one of the areas in bowling that I refuse to learn much about because they always change. And that's a tough thing. I wish we had standardized oil patterns. I wish we had a bank of like 50 and that was it. Those are the only patterns you put out. I love the customization of it, but it's always hard when someone says like, "Hey, I bowled on PBA Scorpion." And it's like, well,
Which
what
version?
year? Yeah. Were you on the 40
Right.
footer? Were you on the 42 footer? Were you on the 43 footer with 29 mils? Were you on the one with 26 mils back from like
Right.
2015? Like, so I would say, what's one that's close? Titanium, I think, is like 44 feet. Kegel titanium. It's like 44 feet, 4-1. I just bowled on that recently.
Hmm.
Um, Petraglia, I think, is close.
That's
Dragon,
that's
PBA
the one I'm
Dragon, I
bowling
think was
on
close.
currently on Thursdays. Is the
Petraglia, yeah.
hmm
We got
I have
Shark
one more week of
Tuesday.
that.
Ooh,
Okay,
Shark is weird.
so okay, let's catch up on some of these comments. Can
Yeah.
Zach, maybe you can help these guys asking about affiliates and staffers. Maybe
Ooh.
give them a little bit information on how to go about it. And then Bree also has a question about one of the older gentlemen that she bowled next to today. So maybe someone can answer those.
Yeah. Yeah, let's start with the staff questions. Getting on staff is one of the biggest questions from people because it feels like that next step in your bowling career. Like all the good bowlers are on staff. So how do I? And also, cheaper equipment slash free equipment doesn't sound that bad, especially like we mentioned in a sport that it's expensive to get into. Um, it's tough. It's such a gray area because it doesn't like there's plenty of bowlers who are phenomenal in their own rights who are not on staff with companies. There was one guy in Minnesota who I know and have bowled with against for years. He's run this state for bowling. He has been the guy to beat. He's winning every tournament he gets into. There's a 50-50 shot he's winning it usually. Um, but he wasn't getting on staff with the company he wanted to. It was Storm, and being really good didn't help. You, at the end of the day, a staffer is a marketer. You are there. They are giving you bowling balls to sell. They aren't giving you stuff because you're good. It's not like how Nike operates with LeBron. They're like, you don't have to advertise our stuff. You're good enough that your skill does it. Or like PBA pros. Like they give them stuff because your skill should sell our stuff. But for regional people or amateur bowlers, if you're on staff, your goal is to sell as many bowling balls as you can. So the best way is to be social, be engaged in your bowling community, be positive, don't have anything negative going on socials. One of the biggest ones now is social media. That's how actually a decent amount of people get on staff is you have an okay following, and then people end up getting on staff. Sarah Bowles, for example, she's not one who would win every tournament in the Ohio area, but she had one of the largest TikTok followings. So Brunswick reached out to her and sent her some equipment, and now she gets a lot of equipment. Um, and just because she's a positive influence in bowling. So being good helps a lot. That's usually the most streamlined method, but a lot of it is networking. A lot of it is knowing people, being able to make those connections in the space. It's kind of corporate at the end of the day, where it's good to know that stuff. Patrick hits it perfectly too. Having a pro shop because a pro shop sells bowling balls, so that's another fantastic way. Be affiliated with a pro shop, work in a pro shop, bowl in a bunch of leagues, bowl in a bunch of tournaments, do well, be a more active and positive and engaged member of your bowling community, and then you'll probably have somebody reach out in due time. Now, will it be with the company you want to get with? It depends on luck because you could have three staffers, storm staffers, within a 10-mile radius of you. They don't need four, but there might be no Brunswick staffers. So you might have Brunswick knock on your door.
Right.
Um, so it's a lot of gray area. It's a lot of gray
Right.
area.
Also do your research. Like, if you're getting ready, if you want to be on staff with a certain company, just do some research. Find out who the regional sales manager for that company is. Reach out to them and everything, because for all you know, you could be bowling tournaments with them this whole time,
Oh yeah.
and they have no idea who you are. And if you sit there and reach out to them and everything, and you can sit there and impress them that way, just don't be afraid to ask.
Right.
I think
Absolutely.
that's another thing.
Okay, so Bree asked, an older gentleman this morning after he was done bowling patted his bowling shoe slide pad with his resin bag. Is there any reason behind that?
Ooh, that's a pet peeve.
It's one of the biggest misconceptions in bowling. For everyone watching, now I wish this could go out to the thousands of bowlers in the United States. You cannot put anything on your pad, on your slide pad, while you're bowling. It is illegal. It is bad. It is going to cause somebody to fall. It is just not good. Don't do it.
Yep.
Dude,
Yep.
for the love of God.
Easy slide doesn't mean for your foot, it means for your thumb.
Right.
Right.
It's
Don't harm me. I was just a messenger.
Oh, absolutely. No, it's I just had somebody in my live stream on Wednesday ask me about like Easy Slide, and I have the biggest grudge against the makers of Easy Slide because they don't do a good enough job at saying this is for your thumb, not for your shoes. And there's a lot of older bowlers who feel like it is part of you that goes on your shoe to help you slide more. No, that's what interchangeables are for. Because if you get that stuff
Right.
at the end of the approach, you're going to have somebody who last shot didn't slide much. This shot, they hit your resin, they end up going onto the lane. And that is, yeah, highly, highly illegal in bowling.
It's happened a few times to me. Sucks
Oh,
every
yeah.
time.
Yep. It's the worst feeling, too, if you're at a tournament and you have somebody doing that and you have to approach them like, hey, man, don't do that, please, because that's going to ruin the approaches.
Yeah.
Right. That and grip chalk.
Yep.
I hate when people have like those big old bags of like the gym grip chalk.
Oh,
It just
yeah.
gets everywhere.
Yep.
And then I don't slide at all.
I've
I'm
seen
like,
baby powder.
really, dude?
So that's the number one question in all of our leagues. Hey, you got a brush? Well, just go to the Lost and Found. I guarantee there's 10 of them in there.
Right.
Yeah. The big one too is you don't need a bowling one specifically. The wire brush I bought, I got at Home Depot
Yeah.
for like $3.
Yeah.
I mean, my wire brush came from the dollar store. So,
Exactly.
It's,
Are
Yep.
you
You don't-
guys
if
using
you're-
grill brushes?
Hey,
I mean,
sometimes
if it gets the job done.
drastic measures, you have to make adjustments, all right?
Yep.
What works, works.
Yep.
everything in bowling's so expensive. You gotta cut costs somewhere.
Exactly.
It just gave him an excuse to go to Home Depot. I mean,
Also that.
oh,
Yeah.
every time I go to Home Depot, I spend way too much money.
I go to Home Depot. I'm gonna come out with half of a bowling alley to build in my backyard.
There you go. You can do what those guys who just got posts on ESPN did. Build your own backyard bowling alley.
Yeah.
I mean, I did that last summer. I sat there and there's a bowling alley that was selling bowling panels.
Yeah.
So I just bought them and put them in my backyard.
Yeah, there's always bowling alleys going out of business because not because bowling's dying, it's because actually, little backstory. I did a high school research project in a literature arts class about bowling and kind of its history. And I remember very little about the class and what I researched. What I do remember is that bowling alleys were the money grab in the 60s. If you wanted to be a business owner, you got out of high school and said, man, I want to build a business. I want to start a business. I want to be my own boss. You build a bowling alley. That is just what you did. Or you opened a movie theater. Those are your two options. And then you kept that and you did really well. The problem was both of those things ended up getting very, very oversaturated. There were way too many bowling alleys and way too many movie theaters.
Yeah.
So then you have to close them. So then you just see everything just kind of dip.
yeah,
Right.
makes sense. Car
Kind of
washes
like
were
axe throwing
big
right
then.
now. Yeah.
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 I thought about buying a couple shipping containers and put them together and make a bowling lane out of it. I mean, they got the same
Yep.
flooring basically. So
Yeah, you don't need much to build a bowling lane. Like, it's nothing crazy. It's the oil that's the tough piece.
Right.
But yeah, it's not hard, like insanely difficult at the end of the day.
Right. Awesome. So, do you got any questions for us?
Yeah.
Ooh. Ooh. What if there was one area in bowling that you would like to see information posted about, what would it be? There was one spot, it can be layouts, it can be bowling ball tech, whatever, it can be something about your form, or it can be some kind of coaching. If there's something that you think is missing that you would really benefit from, there being YouTube videos on or something like that, what would it be?
Brian, you go first.
Me?
Yeah, we're
Yes.
gonna work from the bottom up.
All right. Me personally would just be lane etiquette or bowling etiquette. Period. Dot. Because I know that I've been in leagues for a long time, and I know I'm in leagues with people that have been there for multiple leagues, and they still don't know what lane etiquette is, and it drives me absolutely nuts. Like, if there could be like a tutorial for it, that'd be fantastic. Because
That's
I don't
really good, actually.
understand it.
I like that a lot. I'm in a work league right now, just a work bowling league. It's been going for years and years, and the average of the league was like 150 before I joined because everyone had bowling balls from like 20 years ago. And since I've joined, I've been giving bowling balls to people or helping them out with stuff, and the average has jumped, which is great. But the funniest thing with the league is every year the guy who runs it, he sends out the same WikiHow article of bowling etiquette, and it's so bad. It's so funny though,
Somebody
because
needs to
every
update the
year,
wiki page.
yeah, you look at the year and it's like 2009 or something dumb, and it's like just bowling etiquette 101, and it's just weird. Yeah, so that's a very good one that yeah nobody knows or people even question.
I mean, I think all bowling alleys should sit there and like when you go to get on a lane, there should be like you look up at the screen, there should be a small like bowling etiquette little video that plays, like
Yeah,
an in-flight, like when you're going to board a plane and everything, like just a small video that's like,
yeah,
hey, this is
Give
bowling
them
etiquette,
at least. I mean, give something.
You could get hurt.
yeah.
right?
It kind of reminds me of like in golf, like you know to not hit your shot if there's people in front of you that are hittable. So, but bowling, you don't have that exact like danger level. But how do you
Right.
make it like that kind of common knowledge of like, ooh, this person's going 1 foot away from me. Maybe I need to wait. How do you do that?
Right.
Right.
That's a tough thing.
The common courtesy is it's kind of oblivious nowadays. So it's hard to like say like, oh, I'm going to stand here right next to the ball return, waiting for my ball to come back, and wait the entire time. So I mean, there's just situations that you got to get through.
Yep. All right. Yeah, I like that one.
Especially for like the non-bowler bowlers, like the open play bowlers, right? You have the kids who aren't paying attention when you're there practicing. They walk in front of you when you're getting ready to throw your ball, or the parents who are filming said kids bowling, right? And they're walking in front of your approach, and you're like, okay, I'll just wait. Cool. Like, do you ever want to be
I'm on
put next
6
to
in a
those
row,
kids?
but it's fine.
No, but you are ultimately, right? And it's just like that etiquette is it's a good refresher for those of us who bowl, obviously, and some who may have forgotten what it should be. But really, it's those open play bowlers that are like, I see too many videos of people just like, you see somebody setting up for their shot or whatever, and you see the mom walk like back up with their video camera. Like, don't worry,
We're,
I got it.
we're thinking of the same video right now.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's the dude he's in his
He's
approach
just sitting
waiting,
there.
and the mom
We all
goes,
know it.
backs into him. Yeah.
He's just standing there. He's like, okay, cool. I guess I'll just wait.
Yep.
Okay, Britt, what's your
For me, personally, I want to see more coaching availability. Not necessarily like more YouTube videos on tips and tricks and techniques. Like, I want to see more of like, hey, I am a coach or I have coaching experience and I'm in this area, I want more of like that availability because I know like personally I've said I'm I'm pretty much a self-taught bowler and I feel like at this point in time I've gotten kind of where I can go myself, but I need somebody now at this point to kind of maybe either get me over the hump or like point something out that I can actually physically fix, right? And there's I know that there are probably people in my area, but the knowledge like the database or the the resource isn't necessarily easy to find, like, and so I
That
would
is
like
so
to see
good.
more accessibility of people who are like not necessarily like couch coaches or internet coaches, but like people in your area who are like, I have bowling experience, I can help you or whatever, like not necessarily people who are out to make like a quick buck or anything, because I mean obviously we'd be willing to pay for coaching and do that kind of thing or work out something, but it's like I'm not asking you to do it for free, but I do need somebody to actually sit and help me, and I don't know who I can ask because I don't know who's around me.
Right.
Well, I think that's a great, I mean, I will break this here on the Learning Curve podcast that that's something I'm kind of working on right now is I want there to be affordable coaching in bowling. Right now, I think the cheapest you can get coaching from someone somewhat reputable, 70, $80 an hour. That's a lot for an
Yeah.
hour. And the problem with bowling is I have seen a lot of coaches who are not good. Like there's a lot of silver level USBC coaches. And for anyone who doesn't know, USBC has a certified coaching program. There's level one, bronze, silver, gold. Um, there's a lot of silver level coaches who are not good. They don't know their stuff. They sometimes know how to say it really well, but there are some that just they shouldn't be there because to get your coaching certification, you go to a 1 day class or a 2 day class, you pay $400 to $500, and then you take a test. Like for me, I'm a level one coach because I talked into it and was given it for free to try it out. Like, yeah, you should do this. It was useless. It wasted my afternoon. So what I'm doing for ZVL bowling in the future is I will be offering an affordable coaching virtual program
Awesome.
where I sit down with somebody. It's going to be hopefully something through like a Patreon or something, where they send me some clips. I basically do kind of what Mark Baker does. Mark Baker right now, arguably the greatest coach in the world, in my opinion. He makes you send two videos to him, what you want to focus on, and then talks about them in like a YouTube video. What I would like to do is something similar but different, where we actually have a one-on-one discussion about it, just to
Right.
figure out how the person likes to learn. Um, so yeah, way to
And that's
break this because I haven't told anybody that until now. So here we are.
Hard hitting
Nice
questions,
job.
I'm
Well
telling you.
done. Did you put a camera in my office? Is that what
A
happened?
nose. I got a nose for
Back
some
then when I was
juicy
like,
Yeah.
stories, man.
I thought I saw somebody in the tree outside of my office at one point. Was that you? Wow. Well done getting up there. Good job.
well done.
Uh, yeah, she's already got one crush. I mean, what's one more?
Hey now. Hey now. Beating the bush. Stop it.
So, my thing, I would like to see a more in depth of breaking down transition, and you always hear people, well, open up your angles or take your hand out or do this or do that, and novice bowlers don't understand one lick of that. Well, what's open my angles up mean? What's transition? What's taking my hand out of the ball mean? You see, something like that would be more like, so if you have to take your hand or you got to slightly move it just a tiny bit to make it do something different, like with sports shots, if you miss one board, you're off. And it's hard to target the 16 board if you got a super aggressive ball. How do you make that adjustment? You see what I'm saying? I
Yep.
think of more in-depth videos or teaching of that aspect, or even how to break down the lanes before you start bowling with sport shots.
Ooh, that gets into a lot of fun stuff. That is one of the toughest ones to get into. Like a very common basic question from people is, "Hey, I'm leaving the 10 pin a lot. How do I not?" The answers are infinite, which is tough.
Right.
Like you could move two boards left. You could move two boards right. You could boost your speed up, lower it. There's so many different variables. So that is such a tough one. But yeah, there is nothing on I'm on a sports shot. What does this person do? Like, this is what you do to start. This is kind of the basic, the rule of 31 stuff. But what do you
Right.
do after that when there's a little bit of breakdown, a little bit of transition? How do you see it? And that's a
Right.
fantastic, yeah,
Right. Like
fantastic
like
one.
like Roy just said, angles.
Hmm.
A beginning bowler is not going to understand angles. You know.
Yep.
Uh,
I'm
So I
not a
mean,
beginning bowler, and I still don't understand angles.
Mhm.
right. See, I mean, that's something I would personally like to see. I watch them all day long because even if you're a seasoned vet, a different perspective can help you even just with the minute adjustment. You see what I'm saying?
Yep. Yeah, no, absolutely. That's a fantastic one.
What about you,
Give you
Steven?
it give you another idea for your YouTube.
That one actually I've
Fantastic.
had for a long time, and I've battled for months of like, how do I show this? That could be a 90-minute video. But
Right?
I'm honing it down a little bit more on that one. I think I have some ideas.
Well, I'll definitely be watching for it because I got my son. He just transitioned from one hand to two hand, and he's struggling because he's got great speed, great revs, but when he starts to mentally break down, he can't get on outside the left side of the lane, or he's always short, or he's overshooting it, or he's hitting it too fast, and something like that could help him. You know,
Mhm. Yeah,
oh,
for sure.
definitely lack of control for sure.
All right,
Yeah.
Steve.
Yeah,
Steven,
so
it's your
mine,
turn.
my original one was same with Cobers, is lane transition. It's one of the biggest thing I struggle with. So if I'd have to choose another one, and it's one that I don't see a lot with because I mean everybody's different, so it's really hard. Is things you can do to like when you're struggling mentally with a game and like you are bowling bad and you just get into that negative space. How do you sit there and help control that and pull yourself out of that to end up bowling a better game? Because
Ooh.
that's something I don't see a lot on is like you see a lot of the physical aspect of the game, but not a lot of the mental.
That is actually an untouched area in almost every sport. Sports psychology is growing so quickly to try to help people in that. And there isn't much in like anything. So that is a really, really good one, especially in bowling when there is no defense. It is just you against the lane, and there's so many technical things. No, I really like
Yeah,
that.
because I've asked so many people and I've gotten everything to listen to music, like hyper focus on your spot. Like me right now, I literally like because I usually don't bowl with headphones in. I just can't because when I'm listening to like a certain song, I'm too focused on that song and not able to focus on a certain part of the lane where I'm trying to hit and everything. So I sit there and found out that just playing like waterfall zen music when I start getting upset, just something that's really slow, really like calming to remind myself, hey, you need to breathe. Not push your ball. Let's not try to force your ball to do anything like too extreme. Like relax your shoulders, relax your arm, just back forth pendulum, release that ball nice and smooth and everything. And like that helps, but then again, it only helps until you throw what you think is a really good ball, and then all of a sudden you leave a 410 or
Oh yeah.
like 3 or 4 splits in a row, and you're just like, please, I'm ready to go home. Just grab my
Or
stuff and leave.
11 10 pins, like,
Yeah,
or 11 10 pins in one night for 3 games. I
That sounds
do it.
weirdly specific. Yeah.
Hi, how you doing? How do you get out of that mental funk? I tried everything.
Sounds like
We
someone
just
saw
giggled
this.
and laughed at that point.
So
You kind of have to, yeah.
I made
we
a video
did
on it.
cover.
I put all 10 or 11 10 pins in one video, and I was just like, "This is what
That's awesome.
happens. This is what happened."
Yep.
You
Mr. Utah Bowler, we did cover that on Bowlers Helping Bowlers that one night with Richie, the bowling nerd. The inner
Yep,
game of
I've been
tennis
talking a
and
lot
with
with
winning
Richie.
in mind. So
What was that?
Do you get Bowling Nerd on here?
they did
Yes.
not
Yeah.
on
Really?
here, not
Yeah,
on
he's
this
in the
one,
chat
but
right
on their
now.
other podcast, Bowlers Helping Bowlers. The Bowling Nerd was on here.
Nice.
Yes.
Nice.
And he was actually in our chat last week for our premiere episode. He was actually part of our group chat on here as well. I know and he's in the chat too. Also,
He's in right now.
Yep.
Lurker. I gotta
And
apologize to him because I hopped in his live stream a couple weeks ago, and then I think he asked me a question, and my phone died.
oh,
Well,
So
you heard it first. He apologized.
sorry.
That's the excuse we're going with.
Sorry.
Steve Rubling
There was a
said,
cooler video, okay?
Video on Alex for me. So, he's awesome, dude. He's awesome.
Love
There
you.
he is. See, he forgave you. Aw.
Yeah, we're good.
Yeah.
We'll hug it out. It's okay.
Steve Rubling said one of his things would be explaining the different kinds of lane surface and how it can impact what you're trying to do. Most people are clueless on how different lane surfaces can be.
It's a
Yeah.
good one. It's a really good one. Yeah, just what they're made of. Absolutely. What's high friction versus low friction? Why does the same pattern look radically different center to center? It's a fantastic one.
We
Right.
actually do a tournament here in Utah. And correct me if I'm wrong, Steven. Did you see it this year? The triple nickel? Did it happen this year?
I have not seen it because I've been excited to bowl it. Because isn't that the one that's like
So
you
it's
bowl? I
three
think
different
3 games in
centers.
one center.
It's
Yeah.
5 games in each center, so it's 15 games in one day. And you travel to 3 different centers. They put out the same pattern at 3 different centers. You bowl 5 games, 5 games, 5 games, and all 3 centers play different. This is a perfect example of that. Like, you put out the same pattern in 3 different centers, and they all play different. So
I love that. That is the perfect way for people to see that. Because usually it's like, I'm bowling my summer sweeper and I bowled on this pattern. And then 6 months later, I bowled in a different center with that same pattern. It was weird. What happened? Was it like the temperature or something? It's like, no, the lanes are just way different. You just, you can put
Right.
out the same pattern for 10 weeks straight in 10 different bowling centers. You'll probably have to do 10 different things.
Yep.
That was
Yeah,
the
no,
cool
there's
thing with
so
the
much
US.
that goes into it.
Yeah, USB-C
Um,
tried standardizing house shots for a minute, where they had like the red, blue. I think it was red, blue, white, if I remember right.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it never picked on. People didn't like it, but yeah, if you had like blue in 3 different centers, you could really see. Ooh, this center hooks 12 boards more than the other center I'm used to.
Well, I even when I was working at a bowling alley and I was their mechanic, so I got to play with the oil patterns. We sit there and we switched from the Curve brand oil to the Kegel brand oil. And I was like, well, I still have some of this, so I'm going to lay the same pattern down with the 2 different oils. And they played so much different. Like, the Curve was, like, probably game and a half. It was so much, like, broke down so much quicker and everything. So even that, like, the oil that they're putting in the machines play a completely different than
Oh yeah,
everything.
yep. Terrain, fire, ice, all of it plays such a big role. There's so many variables. So, how do you standardize those variables would be a really fun question for the bowling gods. Like, we need to standardize these
Right.
things in some way. We need to put numeric values on we're bowling on this kind of lane surface, and there's been this many this has been open for this many years, and it's this kind of oil and this kind of lane machine.
Hmm.
Like that'd be so
Right.
nice to do.
Well, awesome. Is there any other last questions that we missed in the chat, Cober? Did you see anything else that we might have
Uh,
missed?
I think one of them got answered, but does the Typhoon compare to the IQ Ruby?
Oh, yeah, actually, they're pretty close. The Typhoon will hook a little bit later. Pretty similar downline reaction, though. It's probably the best replacement for the Ruby right now. The Typhoon is good. I actually have a two-handed one right now. I don't bowl two-handed, but I have a two-handed one. We have
Does any? Go
oh,
ahead.
good. I have
Uh,
I'm working with there's a pro shop in Iowa called No Thumb Nation. I'll have a video on them soon. Um, they're kind of working with me, and we have a coupon code with them. So if you want to get a ball drilled no thumb and you want it online, No Thumb Nation, use code ZVL Bowling for 5% off. But I'll be making a two-handed series. So I've been playing around with two-handed a little bit lately, and
I actually
it is
think
interesting.
I actually think I have a buddy who's on TikTok. He's a bowler as well. He's a two-handed bowler from Virginia, or West Virginia. Easy E Bowling is his tagline. Ethan Landis is his name. He
Easy.
actually, I believe, gets his stuff through No Thumb Nation.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, he's a two-hander. So they did a remap of all of his stuff for him and everything like that, and he's loved the reactions and everything that he's gotten out of all of his equipment from them. So
Yeah.
they know their
Sweet.
stuff.
Yeah, absolutely.
Another thing I'd like to add: there is not enough one-hand, no-thumb bowling techniques out there.
True.
You got
Yes.
You got two hand, or you got one hand. Not many curb into the one hand, no thumb bowler. So I think some content to that would be really nice to help people out too. Does anybody in the comment section have any questions for any one of us?
Before we wrap this up, because it's been 2 hours. Like, we
Yes.
have enjoyed you being on here, Zach. Seriously, thank you so much. But
Oh,
yeah, does
thank you
anybody have
guys.
anybody questions or anything for us? Or Zach, do you have any last things you want to add?
Um, I don't really think so. We're kind of getting the quiet part of the bowling world. We have Bowl Expo coming up in about 2 weeks. That's always a big time for bowling, where you have a lot of new releases and a lot of new bowling info getting released. Junior Gold is right around the corner, and then we're getting right into league season. So get ready for a lot of bowling stuff all over the place in the next couple of months.
Awesome.
Well, again, thank you so much for joining us here on the
Oh,
Learning
that's a
Curve
good question
tonight.
in the chat.
Thank you. Oh, favorite ball. Favorite ball,
Oh,
Zach, at the moment.
phase two. Phase two, always. No, I'd say
Yep.
phase two
100% agree.
and yep. Phase two and Effect Tour. The Effect Tour has been really good lately because it's so unique. From another company, the Origin EX is pretty much very similar in different ways. Just that kind of weaker asymmetrical solid ball has been really, really good. And then of course, phase two is absolutely goated all the time.
So
You
another
got
is
any
the has.
tournaments coming up?
What'd you
Sorry.
say?
Do you got any tournaments coming up recently?
Yeah,
Or soon?
yeah. We do. We have the PBA LBC. I'm hoping to bowl in a couple of weeks. That's their League Bowling Championship. Think of their name. It was like PBA's competition to the USBC Open Championships a little bit without
Yeah.
actually saying it's competition. I have that coming up in late June in Chicago area. Jerry Mars is actually putting on a Chicagoland tournament that I didn't know about that he mentioned in my live stream on Wednesday, which I need to look into more.
He
So
is
I might
actually
want to bowl
going to
that
be
too.
on. He's
For our
actually going
friend
to be
Jerry
our
Mars.
next guest.
Oh, perfect. All right. Love Jerry. Yeah. So hopefully he talks about that a lot because apparently that's a big deal. I've never heard about it, which is weird. I usually try to um, keep my my ear out for those things. So I'm hopefully going to be bowling that as well, and then the True Amateur Tournament in early July. So the TAT is in Vegas over, I think, the 4th of July. So we have that coming up too.
I was gonna say I usually go to that, but I'm
Yeah.
not gonna go this year because last year was miserable. It gets so hot.
That's the hard thing. Yeah, Vegas in July. I was there when Nationals kicked back off in 21. We went in like middle of June. Oh my God, it was insane. That's the only time I've been close to the summer, being in Vegas in the summer, and that was so hot. That was
Yeah,
like
last year
110
during
was
it,
casual.
Hmm.
yeah, I was gonna say last year when I went down there for the tat tournament was I had to travel to the place. I couldn't get a room at the center at the casino and everything because I think it was at the Orleans,
Yep.
and it was 114. Just to walk to your car, you're just like, why, why?
You get in your car like I wasn't wet when I walked out of the last play out of the building.
Yeah, yeah. I was like, I really want to go. My wife was like, no, nope, we're not going. She's
Oh
like,
man.
we'll go in October when they do it again. We're not going.
Oh, yeah.
So another Tony asked, "Is the hazmat solid and the hazmat pearl a good one-two punch?"
Yeah, absolutely. If you like your hazmat solid already, definitely I'd recommend the hazmat pearl. They are very similar. It's just the perfect differentiation where when your hazmat solid is hooking a little bit too early, leaving too many flat corner pins, or just going through the face, just go right to the hazmat pearl and you should be good to go. So yeah, I think that's a really good 1-2 combo.
Yeah.
Awesome. Well, I think the only thing we have left to do is to decide between Cobra and Pickles who's going to host next week's open forum.
I mean, we're gonna do a freestyle episode, yeah.
Yep, it's next week's
Yes,
full
next
open.
week is freestyle.
Yep.
I'll take it, I guess.
All
Oh, I
right.
wanted to see some rock, paper, scissors going on.
I know. I was just gonna say that. I was like, let's
Yeah.
rock paper scissors this
Get
out.
some
Come
Rochambeau.
on.
My rock paper scissor would get banned.
Never mind, no rock, paper, scissors.
All right. Well, then, everybody still in the chat, the 24 of you guys, make sure that you are following Brian, aka Mr. Pickles, here. So next week on June 21st, you guys do not miss our open forum chat. This is the one episode where you guys can come in, ask us questions, pick our brains. We'll answer questions. We'll ask questions to you guys, see what you guys want to see on the learning curve, and just have a good old fashioned chit chat. So make sure you are following Brian, so he will be our host for next week. That's the one thing we like about our podcast, Zach, is that we each take turns hosting to help grow each of our own profiles. What do you think about that?
Yeah, that's a cool idea. I like it being more of that group effort instead of having to have that like one collaborative channel can sometimes get tough because then you all have to post to it. To be able to have access, just being able to grow your own individually while still grouping together for this is awesome.
Great. Awesome. Well, again, we loved having you on here. Thank you so much again for being our first guest on the learning curve. Yeah, I again, you set the bar, man. You set the bar. Jerry
Oh
has got
boy.
some big shoes to fill
Oh,
next
let him know.
episode. Oh,
I'm
he's
about at least 8 inches taller than Jerry too, so it's gonna be really hard for him to fit in my
Oh, I
shoes. Just
bet. I
literally.
bet. Yeah. So I'll definitely let him know he's got some big shoes to fill. So again,
Perfect.
thank you all so much for joining us here on the Learning Curve. We have loved every minute of it, and we hope you guys join us for next week. And
Also,
we will
before we end, I know we started with it. I think we should end with it one more time for people who came in a little bit later. If you are not following Zach, where can they find you?
Yeah, you can find
all
me
your
on
platforms.
virtually every social media platform that exists on the internet. Well, you can find me on TikTok, Instagram, YouTube. You can find me on Twitch. You can find me, I have a Discord. So if you check all my links, you can do that. ZVL Bowling everywhere and anywhere. We go live on our channels for just open Q&A and talking about anything bowling on Wednesdays at 6 p.m. Central Time, and then random times on the weekends for various things. So would really appreciate if you come hang out.
Awesome. Awesome. Well, It's been fun. It's been great. And we hope that you will consider joining us again on another episode later down the road. We'll pick your brain again sometime soon, I promise.
Oh, absolutely. Thank you guys so much for the invite. This was a ton of fun. This is the first podcast I've ever been a part of. So huge thank you to you guys for that.
It's awesome.
So yeah, thank you.
Awesome.
The honor was ours.
Yes, absolutely.
Perfect.
Absolutely. Well,
Love it.
Steven, that's it. Take us home, man. I guess, we'll catch you on the flip side. We'll catch you in the next one.
Yeah. Also, everybody who came in and watched, much love to you guys.
Yes.
Keep spreading everything around. If there's people in here that you're not following, definitely follow. Let's get the community growing to enormous amounts. Let's just take over TikTok.
Absolutely.
We're
There
just
we
gonna
go.
Make it grow. Blow it up. All right, you guys.
Thank
You
you.
guys have such a great
Sounds
night.
good.
Yep. Thank you.
Much love.
Thanks for coming in.
Yep. Thank you guys. See ya.